Hey guys, so we're on our way to Indianapolis, and I'll tell you why. I got my son in the truck with me today, and so we're gonna drive up and we're gonna get us a tractor. We got a deal at an auction, and I called ahead of time to make sure that it would be a good deal, hopefully. So we're gonna be up there in about an hour or so. It's just east of Indianapolis, and we'll see what it looks like when we get there. And there's the brand new tractor, the Ford 4000. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more as we go on. But there she is. She's brand new to me, so I am just getting the first look at it. We've gotten here, we've stopped at the McDonald's, get ourselves a little bit of food. There's my sunny boy there. We've set up our little makeshift dining room here on the back of the trailer, and we're going to enjoy our lunch. And we're going to hit the road about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get home. Okay, so I'm on my way driving home with the trailer and the tractor. And I got to tell you, I do not like driving through Indianapolis. I don't like driving through any big cities, whether it's Chicago, Indianapolis, wherever, because people are absolutely nuts and they do not care that you're hauling a heavy trailer on the way home. We're getting passed left and right. I'm about an hour away from home, and I'll show you my view out my rear view mirror. There she is back there. So I'm going to keep going. Let's get this thing home and get it on some grass. Well, as you can see, I got the tractor down and I got it on some grass, and we just drove around it a little bit. Believe it or not, that is the first time I've ever driven a tractor. I've driven all kinds of other stuff, you know, all kinds of trucks, skid steers, all that kind of stuff, but I've never driven a tractor. So I don't think that the learning curve is really too drastic for that. I mean, it's a pretty simple and straightforward machine to operate. Let's do a little walkthrough right now, and I can show you some of the things that I'm kind of noticing on the tractor already. With as much mechanical mindset as I'm capable of, which is probably not as much as other people. So I'm just going to walk around it and show you different things that I'm noticing about the tractor, and maybe some of you have some input about it as you see what I'm showing you. None of these are really horrible things in my opinion, just things that I noticed. So one of the first things that I always look out for is leaks. And if you look inside the engine compartment here, you can kind of see, you know, I mean, it's an old tractor, so this is kind of expected. Like I said, it doesn't really throw me off. But I think I need to clean some of this up and see if I can tell if there's any real leak coming from there or not. This hose has a lot of cracking in it. That's a hydraulic line, and I think I'm going to have to replace that. The other one behind it looks like it has been replaced because it looks a little bit newer. There is a spot right here that has some abrasion on it. I'm not sure how that happened. but there's abrasion on that spot right there. The tires have thick tread on them, but there is a lot of hairline cracking in the tires themselves, as you can see here. I've been told by some people that know tractors better than I do that this is not the end of the world, although they're not going to last forever. Also, somebody I know that knows tractors better than me said you should put Firestones on them. That is what is on this tractor already. But he also said that these could be the original tires, like from the early 70s on this tractor. So who knows, I may have to replace those in the future. That's not going to be a cheap bill, should I do that. All of the linkages and everything on this are pretty solid. I don't see that they've been terribly worn or anything like that. It didn't come with a top link on it, so I did buy a top link. I got that from Tractor Supply, and I got that all hooked up. The front tires, they both seem to be in pretty good shape. I mean, they look almost brand new on here, so they probably were replaced not too long ago and put on there. There are some giveaways on this tractor, however, that I noticed just as a guy that knows cars at least. And one of those is the paint job. So there's one of your hydraulic filters, and it has paint sprayed on the side of it, which means that somebody was doing touch-up work on it. That's not totally uncommon, I think, when you see that. There's a set of wires down here, and I'm guessing that goes up to like the main tack and everything like that up there, and that's something that I'm going to clean up because I'm a wire guy, and that just bothers the snot out of me when I see wiring work like that, so I'll probably fix that. I did notice that there's just a slight hydraulic kind of a fluid up here, so maybe a gasketing issue or something like that. I don't think it's the end of the world. I was using the hydraulics on the machine a bit, just going back and forth, and I didn't see anything like pouring out or anything like that, so I think we're okay there. As you can see, I got this boom pole. I feel like I got a fair deal on it. A used boom pole. I'm going to be using this to move logs and stuff like that around. But one thing I noticed is that when I engaged the hydraulics and lifted it up, that it would slowly seep down, and I think that that is a problem in the hydraulic box unit. And so I may be looking at that in the future if it becomes a real big issue. For right now, I can deal with it. But if it becomes a big issue, I'm going to take care of that. I got the hood unlatched, so let's open that up. And as you can see, there is what appears to be a brand spanking new battery in this thing. So that's always good to see. That saves you a couple bucks to see a brand new battery on it. I've started it several times, and it has no trouble starting at all. Radiator, typical, kind of a little bit of seepage in there. I think that's kind of typical for this age. There has been a newer upper and newer lower hose on the radiator, which reminds me, there's one other thing I want to show you on the other side of the tractor. This right here is an alternator, and most of you watching this probably know that. But what I understand about this model year of tractor is that it didn't have an alternator, it had a generator on it. So at some point an upgrade was done to this, which sort of brings it a little bit more into the modern age, and so that's helpful for the electrical system and the charging system of the tractor. At some point there was remote hydraulics either added to this or part of the original, I'm just not sure. If you look in here, you can see there is some hydraulic fluid that's been sitting down there, and the hoses, at least the outer cover of the hoses, is down to the braided lines underneath those hoses. So I'll probably have to have those remade. I see probably at least 3 hoses, let's say, that I'm gonna have to replace probably to be comfortable with it. There is a little crack right here on the front of the hood, and I think the natural design of this is curved down, so that's really the only main defect on the front of it. Not too worried about that. The lights, I think the lights are actually original on this tractor, and so that's pretty cool to see that. And of course the front grille there doesn't look to be in horrible shape for the age of the tractor. I have found some numbers down here that help indicate different specifications of the tractor, and so I'm going to be looking into that and seeing what I can find as far as parts and stuff like that on it. So I've been learning all kinds of new levers. I spent a few minutes trying to figure out exactly what they all did. I learned pretty quickly that this one controls the rear hydraulics up and down, that this engages that and allows it to work. One of the things that I was really confused about was this little guy right here. And just a quick question, I was able to figure it out, and that is a brake. That's basically a parking brake. You can depress one of the pedals, pull that up, and it will engage the brake. This is actually a kind of cool. This is a differential lock. If one of your wheels is spinning, you press that down and it will allow the other wheel to spin, and once your tractor starts rolling again, that unclicks itself. So that's all mechanical, which is pretty cool. There's no advanced computers in it telling it what to do, and so I actually like that about it. This little lever on this side engages the PTO on the back side, and I was happy to see when I pulled that, the PTO engaged immediately. There was no delay whatsoever, so that lets me know that it's in good shape. The gear levers, so we got high, low right here, and this is selectors on low, 1 through 4 in reverse, and 5 through 8 in reverse on the high. One of the things I noticed about this seat is that I'm getting fatter. Here's how I know it. My kids sit on it, and it's got plenty of spring on it. My wife sits on it, and it's got plenty of spring on it. But I sit on it, and it goes all the way to the bottom, and I have absolutely no spring in the seat. So I noticed on the back, it's got this little guy right here, and this attaches to a bolt underneath where you're supposed to be able to adjust the tension on that seat, on that spring. And so it's fairly rusted. I'm going to have to work on that a little bit to get it smooth, but I'm going to have to check that out to see if I could get any spring in the seat at all. And hopefully I can. If I can't, I'm going to have to get an aftermarket seat, because I'm so tall that it's really not the most comfortable thing. I'm almost squatting in here when I'm driving the thing right now. So we'll see. I think the seat is already all the way back as far as the adjustments can go, but if I can get the seat higher and get some spring in it, that would really help me a lot. So again, those are just some of the observations that I've made. You guys tell me, are these deal breakers? If you would have seen this tractor ahead of time, would you have picked it up? And do you think that any of these things are fixable? And of course, I know it's mechanical, and anything mechanical at the end of the day is probably fixable. But are these big, huge deals or things that I should really be worrying about? I don't think they are, but I'm interested to hear what your opinion's on. So here's the thing. Why did I get this particular tractor? Well, I'll tell you, the number one factor is because I am not approaching this with a huge cash bag. I don't have a big back pocket. And I've seen other people on other YouTube channels use tractors like this to move their stuff around. And so I figured if it works for them, it'll work for me. And quite honestly, at the end of the day, when we're talking about just something working mechanically, I don't care if it's 60 years old or 70 years old or if it's like brand new. As long as the thing is doing what I've asked it to do, that's all that I'm really looking for it to do. I do think personally there's a kind of a cool factor when you have an older tractor like this and it's still running, to maintain it, to keep it up and keep it going for many, many more years. I just think that there's something really cool about that, sort of a way of honoring the past and showing that the things that our forefathers did in the world were good, and that they were right, and that they created a good quality product. I mean, I think that's important. There will be people that will see me using this tractor, and they will have memories of when they were a kid on the farm and their dad used to work this tractor, or they used to work this tractor. So I just think that that's really just a neat thing. The third reason, which I've kind of already stated, is that it's necessary for me to do the things that I want to do around our house. And especially as we're looking at getting back into a little bit more of a sawmilling life here down the road, I need something that's going to be able to just do what I need it to do. And I need a machine that's not going to whine back at me about it. And I think that this particular machine, it's about a 55 horsepower Ford 4000. I think it has the power to do most everything that I'm going to be asking it to do. And so necessity is a third reason. Finally, the last reason, I think older machines like this are something that I can handle and something that I can work on personally. I'm not too intimidated by most of the problems with the machine, because I know I can still get parts for it and still fix it. And there's so much helpful information out there on YouTube about how to fix this particular model of tractor and ones like it, that I'm encouraged to look at it and recognize that I think I can fix pretty much anything that would go wrong with it at this point. Granted, I consider myself a professional woodworker, not a mechanic, and anyone that I talk to, that's what I tell them. If there's a mechanical problem and it's over my head, I say, I'll go and I'll get dusty all day in the shop, but I'm not interested in getting greasy all day. So, you know, for the most part, like I said, I think I can fix everything on it. Well, getting this tractor was a real good adventure for me, and I got to spend some quality time with my son on the way up to eastern Indianapolis. And I think we'll be looking forward to seeing many more videos in the future of what this little tractor can do. By the way, I asked my kids to name my tractor, and after much searching I told them I want a strong name. I want a strong name for my tractor. And my little boy, the one that you saw in the video, he said, why don't we name the tractor Samson? So I don't know if we're jinxing it. Most of the things that I name go terribly wrong. Hopefully that's not the case with this, but this tractor's name is going to be Samson. Samson Ford 4000, I guess, or something like that. So that's the story, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, I would encourage you to go and watch all of my other videos. Go ahead and please subscribe. That would help me out a lot. And then do all the other cool things. Share the video, like the video, and hit that little bell icon down in the bottom right hand of your screen. That gets you notifications when new videos come out. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's keep tractoring along.